What's up, guys? This is OMG Kawaii Angel. This will be like a free fall type video. Why am I always so stressed when I'm trying to relax? Actually, this will be like real quick off the top of the dome type thing. Why do I always feel so guilty when I'm trying to rest? I don't know if it's a societal thing or if it's a psychological thing or both, whether it's an upbringing thing or just a PTSD type thing. But I am extremely guilty whenever I just try to relax and do fucking nothing. Um, when I have a free chunk of time, 4 hours, I will probably end up scouting the internet for better work, scouting, the house for what to do or what to fix. Every time I try to relax and I have a chunk of time, like 4 hours to do something, um, I can't just play a video game anymore. I can't just like barely enjoy a movie. Um, I can enjoy movies with my wife because then we are spending family time together, and I find that to be important enough to be able to dedicate the time to it. But when it comes to just relaxing, if I have that time, I will find something to fix around the house. I'll find something to do in the garden. I'll find something to do extra work. I'll be either scouting for work or I'll be doing deliveries, doing side hustles type thing. If there's nothing else to do, I'll go to the gym. And always, whenever there's a little bit of time, I end up trying to find something to do. I think maybe a lot of people experience something like this. I'm not quite sure. But for me personally, I think a lot of it comes from like the PTSD angle, because when I was around 22, I began developing stomach issues that have really fucked me up for the next decade. And the first 2 years of that was so horrible that I ended up missing most of my everything, most of life. I ended up having to sit at home, in the bathroom, on the toilet for uh, 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day. It was just toilet life for me. And I felt like if only I had a little bit of time and a little bit of health, I would never allow myself to waste a moment. These precious moments in our life that sometimes we just, ignore the rat race. The rat race gets to all of us. The bills need to be paid and people need to be taken care of. And before you know it, you're just constantly running. I lost my trail of thought. But yeah, it comes a lot from the PTSD angle because I was just very, very afraid. I was just very, very afraid to lose any precious time that I was actually able to do anything that I wanted versus to have to do the shit that I was forced to do, which is literally the shit that I was forced to do. Now, this is a problem because when if you actually work hard enough and if you actually try hard enough at life, then rest isn't an option. It's a necessity, especially if you have this sort of high energy type of mindset and maybe a little bit of like, I'm going to be careful saying this because I'm not diagnosed with anything, but like maybe a little bit of like bipolar tendencies sprinkled in. And some weeks you're just on fire and you're doing 25 things a day. When that crash happens, you can get kind of depressed, thinking that, oh, there goes all of my energy. I could never sustain. Last week was so good. What happened to this week? I'm back to my old shoes. I'm back to being an idiot. But if you actually do things really, really hard in life, if you try hard, if you work hard, if you, take care of your health and if you think a lot, then you need that time to unwind. I've become more happy as I've learned a little bit more to how to unwind. But it's not easy. I have to like trick my own self. I have to trick my own self. I have to like I tried to develop a couple of new hobbies outdoors successfully. I really enjoyed them, and still enjoy them. One of them was very basic planting. Like I planted an onion and I planted a bell pepper just from the stage from the refrigerator, and they worked out fine. And then the other hobby that I sort of developed recently was taking pictures of airplanes. And I've learned that I think I like it so much because I escape the uh, everyday hustle and hassle. And for those 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I am looking at the sky, only focused on the one thing, which is like the next airplane that's coming. And it's like a hobby, and I'm like doing something cool, zooming in on my camera and everything. But uh, in reality, that's just like one little step closer to being able to fully relax. Which again, big problem for people like me. Upbringing plays a huge part in it. So I guess it's like multiplied, compounded this shit for me because before I even got sick and before I started feeling the FOMO of, of uh, just FOMO towards anything in life. Before then, when I was being brought up by my family, I was definitely like hyper o- over over my schedule was full. My schedule was so full, and there wasn't any room for any mistake or any room for wasting any time. Especially like in Russian households, or especially in Russian households of the 90s. Or maybe that's just my perspective, and maybe my parents are so unique. But from what I got gathered, that was mostly like the Russian mindset of the 90s. You gotta freaking fill your child's day in with everything that you can afford. So if your parents can afford school, you go to school, and then you come home and you do extra studies with your parents, stuff like that. If your parents can afford school and, let's say, uh, after school painting, any sort of program, anything, that's what you're gonna be doing. Me, there was a point in my life between like, well, honestly, most of my life, but as my father was making more and more money and being able to afford more and more extracurricular after school, blah 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 type of activities for me, there came a point in my life when I was I was going to day school in the American normal public system. I was finishing what, 3:15, right, to get on the school bus. Then by 4:30, I was at the Russian night school, which is the Russian school to the part of the Russian consulate and Russian embassy, part of the UN type shit. And after that, or in between that, because that happened twice a week, every other slot of time was taken up with either painting or piano lessons, or at 2 years in a row, it was swimming in a pool. And prior to that, 2 years, it was like some childish karate, which I don't remember anything about. But being that busy puts you in a constant state of anxiety. I was always underslept. I was always in a rush, having such a busy schedule, but having very little time management skills in your family, which is really crazy to imagine. But that's my family. So we would always be late to school. Would wake up last second, and of course everything's blamed on the child, right? So like, why are you sleeping so late, type shit. But the child is exhausted. I can see it in my sister now. She's overloaded. She's doing great. She's so talented. She's so fucking talented, and she's gonna be so successful. However, it really puts a lot of pressure, and it creates that constant stress of like, what do I gotta do next? What I gotta do next? Now, as an adult, I meet different people, and I've been out in the world again, sort of meeting people like at my job, and trying to make friends and stuff like that. And I met some friends over the last few years at different places that I worked. I've realized that some people actually just know how to relax, and they're so content. They're so happy. Um, at least that sort of feeling. Um, it can add to a very fruitful and happy life. Uh, and relaxation is just as important as all the action that you put in. Relaxation is like the quiet moments in the music. As they say, like the silence is just as important as the music. And again, if I'm able to successfully relax and successfully unwind without alcohol, without like blah blah blah, anything like that, just relax and unwind mentally, um, maybe sit my ass down and borderline force myself to play Skyrim or something like that, then I notice a significant improvement in my mood, in my productivity the next day. So question is, why the fuck am I always so guilty when I try to relax? Um, Food for thought, that would be the end of this. Like and subscribe. Um, hold on a second. I gotta make this outro. Everybody, this has been OMG Kawaii Angel. Like and subscribe. Peace out.